Hello, Jinx OJ here with a super late and super spoiler review of Mortal Kombat. I'm actually glad I waited though, because there's been a lot of talk about future developments for the franchise and the films and sequels, so let's get to it. First up, I'm going to talk about the good, then I'm going to talk about the middle, the meh, felt just in the middle about, then the bad. And then we're going to get to the good stuff, the future, and what's next for the franchise. All right. So kicking things off, I have to say, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, great. Just awesome. I'm so glad they got their justice. They're very much the mascots of Mortal Kombat. And you got the backstory on why they hate each other so much, why there's this feud, why there's this rivalry. And I think for a casual moviegoer, or just casual fan of the franchise, people know that Scorpion and Sub-Zero are always at odds, but they don't really know why. So to see the opening of the film show why these two hate each other so much really puts a lot of context to the Mortal Kombat world and these characters, and just why they don't like each other. And I thought they were perfectly cast, just brilliantly brought to life. Scorpion was just, it was great to see such a antagonist-like character, why things are the way they are from his perspective, and him losing his family, and then seeing Sub-Zero just with all of his ice powers, just mwah, chef kiss. The scene where he made it hail, or the snowflakes turn into hail. He was giving Elsa a run for her money. Just Sub-Zero was awesome and was done so much justice. And for the two mascots of the franchise, they should be. Just excellent. Just they've upgraded so much since their original original movie counterparts. The video game versions, they're really kind of on par with. And I have to say, they did an excellent job of realizing them and bringing them to life. So next on this list, by the way, I have notes here. So if you see me look down, I have a lot to cover. Next up is Sonya and Jax. I have to say, I loved them. They felt like Jonya, is that a shipping? Sonya and Jax. They felt a lot like them. They sounded a lot like them. They looked a lot like them. They dressed a lot like them. Their fighting styles were on point. I really did feel like they were really actualized too. They had some very good comic relief moments, which I felt like this movie needed every comic relief moment it could get without Johnny Cage being in it. Whew, we'll get to that. Next up is Kano. He was the real comic relief. For the lack of Johnny Cage, Kano made up for it as the best he could. He was hilarious. All of his one-liners landed for me. And let's be honest, you can't have a good Sonya without a good Kano. And I felt they really went off of each other so well. And I'm so glad she took his tattoo. Called that a mile away. Next up is Liu Kang. So here's my gay self. Ludi, what is his name? Ludi Lin. I think that's how you say it. Correct me if I'm wrong. He is gorgeous. And he did an excellent job of filling the shoes of the previous Liu Kang from the original franchise. I wish he had more screen time, but he looked just like Liu Kang. He had so much pyrokinesis and fire powers. It wasn't just like a one-time trick in the original film. He had it all throughout it. He even did an animality, if I'm not mistaken, or at least brought the flaming dragon to life. Close enough. It was great to see his powers realized. This felt like the Liu Kang we deserved, like power level-wise. Granted, the original Liu Kang was awesome too, but power level-wise, just amazing. Just great. And speaking of which, this movie of a video game did an excellent job of giving a little bit of fan service. I saw a lot of references to other characters. I saw a picture of Nightwolf. Obviously, we saw the Johnny Cage poster at the end. I saw Kitana's fan, Shinnok's amulet. I think Bo' Rai Cho was mentioned by Liu Kang. And for those of us who play the video games, we're like, I know who these people are! So that was a fun Easter egg upon Easter egg upon Easter egg upon Easter egg. Loved it. I'm a nerd who likes to be a know-it-all on these things, so keep them coming. Okay. Next up was Kung Lao. And this is going to bring us to the middle section where I just felt in the middle about. Kung Lao was amazing, looked the part. He stole the show when it came to fatalities. Which brings us to the middle part. That fatality was amazing. He sawed Natara in half with his fan. That was play of the game. However, now we're in middle section territory. Natara is an obscure character from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I loved her. She reminded me of the character Blood Rain. And she had an awesome fighting style because she could absorb your health as a vampire. She looked like a femme fatale, dominatrix vixen. This Natara was none of those things. She was just there in a generic outfit. She may as well have just been a stunt person. And she got flawless victoried by Kung Lao. I guess they had to sacrifice her. You know, we got Natara. She didn't do anything, but that death was amazing. So, kind of felt on the fence about Natara. It was good to see her drudge back up from the long history of Mortal Kombat. And she got her time in the sun for like 2 seconds. Didn't really look like Natara, so it's whatever. Natara was there for a split second if you're a Natara fan. Next up, and this one's a rough one for me to talk about, Mileena. Mixed opinions, because Cece, I have her name written down as Stringer. I'm going to say Stringer. She was amazing. But her and Liu Kang were the hottest people in that film, in my opinion. She brought Mileena to life. And I say that because she didn't really have as much mouth-teeth action as I would have liked from Mileena. I was kind of hoping we'd have like a mouthful of teeth like Anne Hathaway in The Witches. Could you imagine? That would have been awesome. She had it for a little bit. I wanted more. So the budget really dropped the ball on her, but she brought Mileena to life. When she licked that bloody sigh, I believe she was Mileena. And I think the costume department didn't really help her either. They gave her a very armored looking outfit that Kitana wore like in the first film. Was all black and armory. And that's a shame because I feel Mileena is the leading lady of Mortal Kombat. They rotate characters in and out, but when Melina's not there, the internet will let you know it. NetherRealm Studios. And that's why they brought her back for the most recent game. They were like, without a doubt, Mileena. Everybody wants Mileena back. Like, you can't knock it that Mileena is the leading lady of Mortal Kombat. And it's just a shame because her outfit is a bit of a disappointment. She didn't even wear a mask when she's like a character that's supposed to impersonate her twin sister. And that's why she wears the masks. Her face is a little bit different. And on top of the fact, Mileena in the video games has so many iconic costumes. A lot of pink, a lot of purple, a lot of fuchsia, a lot of magenta. And we didn't get that. And once again, if it wasn't for Cece's portrayal of her, you know, I don't know if I would have liked Mileena in this film, but Cece really was the one thing that really brought Mileena to life. I will say the teleports were awesome too, though. Cece, mwah, 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 you deserve all your flowers. You really brought Mileena her justice. And doesn't matter if the costume department dropped the ball with the mouth and the clothes, you were Mileena. So I want to make sure that you know that I really was a fan of the actress who played Mileena. She was amazing. I hope she comes back for the sequel, and I hope they have a better budget for her too, because she deserves it. And the character Mileena does too. She was the character I was most excited about in this film. Sucks that she got one hit KO'd by Sonya, but we're going to move on to the next topic. So, Raiden was in the film. He didn't really do much, but that's kind of Raiden in a lot of this franchise. It was nice that he was played by an Asian actor instead of having, you know, the Asian god played by a white guy. That was a bonus. But yeah, I keep him in the middle category because, you know, he didn't really do much. And it is what it is. Moving on, we're going to talk about Reptile. So Reptile was in the film. He's back with his invisibility, not invincibility. He got his butt kicked. Invisibility. He had acid. He had a tongue. He was climbing across the walls. All that awesome Reptile stuff you know and love about the character. The reason why I put him in the middle category, despite all these amazing things he has and the awesome fight sequence, was his character design. Wow. So there's been a lot of mixed talk about this on the internet, and for me personally, I felt he looked like Baby Godzilla. I know that he was supposed to be like a Komodo dragon or something like that, people were saying. But me personally, I'm a bit of a purist from the video games. I liked when Reptile's a bit in between. You know, he get a little bit of the human side and a little bit of the reptile side. I think the first movie did a great job with that, and the video games have been doing a really good job with that. And I felt that in this film, he was just very much a creature of the day type situation. And he didn't really seem like a combatant. He felt like a monster and not like a Mortal Kombat combatant. So, meh for Reptile. Just in the middle. He felt very special effectsy. Whatever. So the next thing I was a bit middle of the road on was the costumes. So there are some characters like Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Sonya, Raiden, Jax. You look at them, you know exactly who they are. Like, no doubt. You're like, that's Liu Kang. Like, that is Raiden. Like, that is Sub-Zero. Like, you know, right away. Like, it's just perfect. And then there's characters they did in the film like Nitara, Melina, Reptile, Cole, where I'm like, what were they going for? Like, that wasn't it. Like, the costume department was so hit or miss in this film, and that's rough, because fighting games, so many characters are so iconic, and when in the world of cosplayers especially, you have to come correct with these visuals. Like, I hate to say it, but like with Melina, like, I don't think anybody would want to cosplay that. Like, especially when there's such a repertoire of amazing Melina costumes, like, you really got to come through on everybody. So I was in the middle of the road about that. Some were good, some weren't. Now we're moving on to the bad. Woo! Okay, so you know, many of you know where this is going right away. Cole. Talk about a redundant, unnecessary character that really just hijacked the plot from our beloved characters. Like, I haven't seen this much of like a shoehorned fan fiction character since Alice in the Resident Evil films. Like, at least Alice was initially supposed to be that character that was supposed to tie the timeline in order events of the games that the characters kind of weave in and out of. That was their initial plan, despite, I don't know, the Resident Evil movies only kind of followed 2 films from the video games and they just did their own thing Mad Max-wise. This, I don't really know what they were going for with Cole. I felt like I know in some stories you need like an introductory character or a character from the audience perspective, and so they're not thrown into this immersively lore and world, and they need a perspective that the audience can really resonate with and understand and see things from and it can be explained to. But like, everybody in the movie was like new to Mortal Kombat and learning about it. Heck, we didn't even go to Mortal Kombat. That was a movie talking about what Mortal Kombat is. So if everyone's being taught what Mortal Kombat is and everyone's new to it, why do we need Cole? Like, he literally had the plot of Liu Kang from the first film. He pretty much took away Scorpion and Sub-Zero's like full-blown fight scene. Like, that kind of had him just shoehorned in there. You had him fight Goro, which in the first film it was Johnny Cage, and I think in the games it's Kung Lao. So you pretty much took a lot of the spotlights from many beloved characters that have these awesome fan bases. And then his power set was like bootleg Black Panther, just absorbing kinetic energy, but only in a shirt. And it has nothing to do with Louis Tan, the actor. Like, I think he's beautiful looking and an incredible stuntman, but an action person. But his character, that was so unnecessary. And when you have an amazing catalog of characters like Mortal Kombat, everybody is going to complain that they didn't get their character in the movie, or they needed more screen time. So to have all of our beloved characters take a step back to a made-up character, that was a mistake. That was the biggest mistake in the whole film, especially because the film could have used a little bit more comic relief like in the original one, and I know a lot of people wanted Johnny in there. I just feel like he's just like, why are you here? Like, character-wise, it just felt so just unnecessary, and really took away from the rest of our characters that deserved more screen time. And don't get me started on what happened to Goro. So Goro in the video games, I want to say Mortal Kombat 2, was like this boss level threat. And in the first film, he was a boss level threat. And they let you know it. They killed off like a supporting character with Goro. In this one, it was just used as like a punching bag to show how powerful Cole is. And if anyone has learned anything from the Resident Evil movies, what we don't like as gamers, as the real fans of the franchise, is having our video game franchise brought to life just to bring in some fan fiction new character to be a powerhouse, to kill off just these big bads. I mean, we literally had a Resident Evil movie where Alice fought Nemesis in front of Jill. Like, that's a cardinal sin from the gamer's perspective. Like, don't do that. We want to see our favorite characters shine. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next topic because, like, I don't want this to be a bashing fest on Cole because, baby, I could easily go down that road. So next up, I didn't care for Shang Tsung. What the heck? That actor, I realize, has an established fan base and people love him. But wow, he looked so bored, like he was waiting for the bus, and I don't understand how you can take such an iconic villain like Sorcerer Shang Tsung. Like, anyone who watched the first film, Shang Tsung is a threat. And this film, like, you have the costume, the black eyes, the minions, and he looked so bored. I was like, you guys need to bring back the original Shang Tsung from the first film. Because he's still doing work for Mortal Kombat. He's voicing the character in the video games. He's lending out his face model. He's right there. Bring him back. And you can still bring him back because Shang Tsung in the video games goes from old to young. So bringing him back as the older counterpart to this young one, maybe that's how we get him in there. Bring back the original Shang Tsung. This guy doesn't seem like his on-screen portrayal of Shang Tsung. He just didn't seem like he cared about this movie. He just seemed really bored. Which, such a missed opportunity. Anyways, what else is in the bad category? Because we're in the bad now. The music. So, being a 90s kid, I grew up with Mortal Kombat having this awesome soundtrack. And, like, if you haven't heard the original Mortal Kombat soundtrack, look it up. Every song in there is a bop. Like, the thing about Mortal Kombat in the 90s was every fight sequence, they would have a track that made you want to get off your seat and start dancing and get all pumped up like it was a workout and made you want to just throw some fists or hands or whatever. Like, it was such good music. Like, you would hear Techno Syndrome at sporting events. You would hear it at roller skating rinks. You would hear it waiting in an elevator. That was like an elevator lobby. That was the jam. They brought it back in for like a hot second towards the end of the movie. And like, this techno beat just got watered down to be epic. And that was a huge missed opportunity. Mortal Kombat is the whole package. You have a diverse global ensemble. You have awesome lore and fantasy. You got gore and action and blood and guts. You got jumping soundtracks. You got witty humor like Johnny Cage and a few other characters. Like, bring back that awesome music that got us pumped. What the heck? That was a horribly missed opportunity. Next up with another missed opportunity was locations. Wow. I felt like this film, half of it got filmed in Sonya's trailer area and the other half was filmed in a cave. I guess we had like a smidgen of Outworld, but like, that felt very low budget. Thankfully, the cast was very charismatic and distracted from that. But like, think of the original films. You had like a rave Sonya was pursuing Kano at. You had the Hollywood sets for Johnny Cage. You had the tropical island of Shang Tsung and all those awesome different rooms and areas. You had Outworld. You had the cybernetic facility where Jax was held at. You had all these awesome, fantastic locations like that snow area with Jade. And I just felt here it was just such a waste. I was like, we're in a cave most of this film. And this brings it to the biggest sin in this film. This was a prequel. There was no Mortal Kombat tournament like in the first movie. This was preparing for the tournament. This was just kind of setting things up. That is a no-no. Never, never, never sleep on what you can do today and save for another film. Like, that is just a big no-no. Like, you put it all in the first film, especially in the day and age where we have 4-hour-long flicks like Justice League or whatever. Like, I want it all. Don't tease it. Do it now. Because tomorrow's never promised. Like, that was probably the biggest sin of the film, that we didn't make it to the Mortal Kombat tournament, and it was all just kind of talk and hype and set up for it. Big mistake. With that being said, this leads us to our next point. The future. So, in recent talks, there's been a lot of talk from Warner Brothers and the people who made Mortal Kombat saying they want this to be a trilogy film. A trilogy set of films. So that's great news. Because, as we know, they teased Johnny Cage at the end of the film. So, yay, we get to get some fun comic relief with Johnny. Which was really needed. And I didn't realize how much I appreciated Johnny's sense of humor until he wasn't in an entry. He's usually been in almost all of them. So, to not see him here being his silly self, it really felt we were missing part of the team. So, obviously, Johnny Cage has to come back. So, if Warner Brothers, if you're listening, I'm telling you, have Cole die and give his tattoo to Johnny Cage. And I'm not saying that because I just don't like the character. I'm saying that because those of us who are really going to support you, the fans, the video game fans, we have a lot of characters in this movie. This film was packed with a bunch of characters. Next film has to have even more. We have to have Johnny Cage on top of that too. We also have to have Kitana. You know you have to have Kitana in the next film. On top of that, most people don't realize the Sub-Zero from this film, I think, turns out to be Noob Saibot. I want to say it's Noob Saibot. Fact check me. But Sub-Zero has another brother that's more of a good one. He's got to be in the next film. You can't have a Mortal Kombat film without Sub-Zero. So obviously you need the good Sub-Zero. You need Kitana. You need Johnny. Heck, maybe Jade and Shao Kahn and maybe some other ones. But that's a very, very, very crammed, packed cast. And like, I hate to say it, but we don't need Cole taking away all the spotlight and iconic moments for himself. Like, could you imagine next film if Cole waltzes on up in there and beats Shang Tsung right in front of Liu Kang? Or takes Kitana's spotlight and is like, I'm going to actually marry Liu Kang and be his love interest, and Kitana, you can just stand there and watch. Or, alright, maybe I'm just being silly and fantasizing, but the point being is we want to see all of our characters actualized. Like, we've been playing these games for like decades now at this point. This came out in the 90s, baby. Like, Mortal Kombat has quite a ways to go back to its 90s glory, and we need every opportunity to really get it there. So, here's to hoping the future looks bright. I heard Warner Brothers is aware that the people really love Mortal Kombat, and the hype is real. We just need it better executed. And I really do hope they go this direction next with the franchise, because I think it would be a good plot line if, let's just say, Cole was looking for Johnny and died and lost his tattoo, and that would create a lot of tension between him and Sonya. She lost a friend for this guy, and it's a lot of good drama, soap opera drama in the Mortal Kombat franchise with Johnny and Sonya. So let's just dial it up. Let's do it all. And let's really give us the Mortal Kombat we deserve, because this film was good. I'm going to give it a B. The original, I'm going to give it an A. So it's almost there. It's almost there. What are your thoughts on it? Did you love the movie? Did you hate it? Who do you want to be in the next film? I personally hope that Cece, Melina's actress, comes back as Kitana. Ludi and Cece, Kitana, and Liu Kang, those two actors, love it. And me right in the middle. All right, maybe I'm fantasizing now. All right, leave your comments down below. Tell me if you loved it. Tell me if you hate it. Tell me who you want to be in the next Mortal Kombat film. Me, Jinx, signing out.